It's time to fix the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it in this episode of Box Score Breakdown. Week 9 saw the Vegas Raiders easily beat the New York Giants 30-6, and it was quite the scene in the locker room afterwards. Maxx Crosby handing out cigars, Antonio Pierce getting a nice game ball and a victory speech. The Raiders have had a tough go recently, so it's nice to see them get some kind of pride, momentum, but hey, let's be real. The New York Giants are down to their third-string quarterback, a no-namer who can't even throw a forward pass. The Raiders smoking cigars, not a good look. I think most coaches, legit coaches, would know that you don't celebrate like that after you win over a third-string quarterback. You celebrate like that after you beat the Chiefs, or you get a playoff berth, or you win a playoff game, or even the Super Bowl. That's when the cigars are appropriate. Ask Joe Burrow. Didn't feel Raider-like to me. And I'm not a Raider expert by any means, but I don't picture Howie Long smoking a cigar when they beat Steve Bono, or Charles Woodson having a cigar because they beat Nathan Peterman. I mean, let's be real here. The Raiders were rebelling because Josh McDaniels was gone. They were happy to have him out of the picture. They could celebrate and be themselves again. But smoking cigars after beating a bad team, that doesn't feel very Raider-like to me. Could you imagine what Al Davis would be saying or doing, thinking? He'd be ripping everyone in that locker room. Every big victory, somebody has to go on IG Live. You see one player do it, and then, of course, you have to do it. I think Antonio Brown started off. Now the college and pro players are doing it. It's cool to be inside the locker room and see this style of content, but like I said, third-string quarterback, you're dancing and celebrating like you won the Super Bowl. Maxx Crosby having a good time. Celebrating with the D lineman. Showing lots of tats. Those are some little cigars, little baby cigars. I feel bad for the media having to do interviews. Just smoke everywhere. I guess it's legal in Vegas. I don't know. This wouldn't fly in California. I think Santa Clara, you'd be probably escorted out of the state if you did this. Their locker room is a trip though, with all the lighting. The carpet's not my favorite, but you tried. This is the best part. All right, Mark Davis. I got to pause here. Mark Davis. Oh my God. He just got the PF Chang's in the press box and the suite. And, him and like Maxx Crosby could be father-son. We don't know. They have a similar hair color there. Hey, Mark Davis is happy. It's been a long season. Good for him. Good for Maxx Crosby. And like I said, maybe don't do this until you win a big game. So the Raiders culture, not quite there. I'm going to give you 4 steps to fix the Raiders. 1, you got to hire Jim Harbaugh. His run at Michigan is winding down. Give him a big bag and make him the head coach of the franchise. Let him pick his GM. Let him bring Vic Fangio, Greg Roman, whatever coordinators he's worked with. The Harbaugh way works. It's proven to work in the NFL and college, and he coached at the Raiders, so he knows that Raider identity. Step 2, you got to beef up your offensive lines, your defensive line. Just get better in the trenches. So with this draft pick, depending on how the season plays out, if Aiden O'Connell shows some skill, definitely get him some help on the offensive line. If O'Connell struggles or is mediocre, invest in the quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. or dare I say J.J. McCarthy in the first round of next year. Got to get a blue chip player, no more busts in the first round. My 3rd step, you got to trade Davante Adams. I know he's a great player, one of the best to ever do it at wide receiver. But at this stage of his career, the Raiders are in rebuild mode. They got to ship him for some good potential young players, draft picks. Get a first, get a second, get multiple picks, and rebuild that offensive line and get younger, cheaper playmakers and DBs. The secondary, not good either. And lastly, step 4, keep Antonio Pierce. Former players like him, coaches that can speak to the players and get them bought in, you got to have them on your staff. And I know Jim Harbaugh loves having former players around. Keep Pierce on the staff, linebacker coach, maybe give him an elevated title. Reward him if he does a good job in the interim role. We fixed the Raiders, so let's wrap up week 9 with some honorable mentions. Jim Irsay dancing in the locker room, shaking his tail feather, something you don't want to see, I don't want to see, but yet we can't look away from it. CJ Stroud, Texans quarterback, running away with Offensive Rookie of the Year, outplaying Bryce Young, and then goes out and throws for 470 passing yards and 5 touchdowns, a rookie record. The Texans are making some noise, but CJ Stroud is quickly breaking the myth that Ohio State can't produce NFL quarterbacks. We got to talk about Joshua Dobbs. Gets traded around to every team, shows up to the Vikings, doesn't know any of the plays, doesn't know any names of players. They don't even know his cadence on the snap count, but he goes out and gets a victory. 20 of 30, 158 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and Joshua Dobbs. Nice moment for him. And the fans. The fans were loving it too. Let's wrap it up talking about Germany. The NFL wants to have international games, London, Mexico, Germany. Here's what I think. Let's have bad games in Germany, not Chiefs, Dolphins, but I'm talking Bucks, Saints, or Colts, Jaguars, or whatever boring divisional game. Just throw it to Europe. I want to watch the best players, the best matchups, and I don't want to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and do it. I think the field is not up to par. The punts are hitting the scoreboards. Taylor Swift didn't even make the trip. That's all you need to know of how meaningful or meaningless this game was. I know there'll be more games in Germany, more exotic foreign games. Hopefully no Super Bowls overseas. We want to keep that in the States. But yeah, I think the best thing or only good thing was Patrick Mahomes' custom cleats. Otherwise, yeah, you can miss me with those German games. All right, more videos, more YouTube shorts. Stay tuned. Box score breakdowns, not going anywhere. Subscribe. Stay tuned for more.